Welcome to Vator Box, the show where we rate your pitches. I'm Bambi Francisco, and with me always is Ezra Roizen, digital media investment banker, and Diva Hazarika, who is our Simon Cowell for this episode, who Diva says promises to be the best Simon Cowell yet, right?
Since Simon Cowell.
Since Simon Cowell. And we have a fun show. The theme is transparency. For this show, we're going to be looking at 23andMe, which is that genetics company that received about $10 million in funding. It's from Genentech and Google, and the other company, which is a lot of fun, we'll start with that, is Zivity, which received $7 million from the Founders Fund and Blue Run Ventures. By the way, these are two companies that were started by women. Except Zivity was also, the husband was there too. Anyway, Zivity is a sophisticated, tasteful, nude, naked ladies site, and but it's actually very elegant. Well, let's listen to the pitch.
And I want it to give you a little bit like parted, the teeth parted a little bit, just like you're inhaling when you come out. Yes. Oh, gnarly. There, right there, perfect.
Zivity is a community-powered showcase of female beauty that sits at the intersection of MySpace, Playboy, and American Idol. So think social networking, sharing photos, favoriting, walls, messages, status, all that good stuff. Beautiful pictures of amazing women and voting.
Okay. It's actually a very elegant site, well done site. I am a model on the site. I'm only kidding. There's 100 models right now, and there's about 10,000 people who have actually subscribed. I guess paying somewhere around $10 a month.
Well, the big question
to
I think
this.
For this site is it has yet to be proven that people will pay to see naked women on the internet.
It just doesn't.
And I think those two things have yet to really establish themselves as coexisting. In really strong economics.
Yeah, I think that's, sooner or later we will establish whether pornography is something that
viable
there's
business.
money. Yeah, is a viable business where there's money in. But if that turns out to be true,
right,
maybe there's something here.
Yeah.
I did ask Cyan. I just said, do you think you would have gotten enough, as much attention if it was just, sort of just nice photos? Right. I think that they actually built a lot of momentum and intrigue because they are, sort of Playboy, Maxim, that sort of in that area.
Yeah, I think the trick is how do you keep the brand at a highbrow enough level and the quality of the content at a highbrow enough level to actually make it not just a UGC porn site. And
they need good columns. Articles.
Yeah. I read Playboy for the columns. All
right, so Ezra, are we going to go interview for the interviewer position there?
I'm going to go. Yeah. I think the trick is how do you basically keep this thing at a level where you have quality pictures, quality models, and
right.
It's really going to be editorializing. And I don't believe, I might be wrong, but I don't believe, for example, Playboy has the perfect cracking of the code in terms of their online strategy. I think I think they
love this strategy.
I think this strategy is interesting, but I think the trick becomes: is naked ladies on the internet fundamentally highbrow, and will you attract a large enough audience for a highbrow product? I think Playboy with a very exclusive magazine, a lot of content, some pictures, kind of a high-end, male-oriented, very focused publication.
Yeah, but if you add Playboy, Cosmo, Maxim, all of those things. What Cyan said that 50% of the viewers are women. She said that there are lots of women who are viewing the site. Or actually, 50% are nude photos. The rest are just elegant, maybe sexy.
I think people are going to come look at pictures. I think that's something that we can say firmly positively that people will look at pictures of hot chicks on the internet. I know it's a lot easier and not even fair. I remember when I was a kid, you had to go through apartment dumpsters to find Playboys. You had to work on the cable channels to try and get the stuff unscrambled. Yeah. Now you can just jump on the internet. Yeah. But so it's not fair for the kids these days. Too easy. But I was going to say is people vote for stuff on the internet. Sure. You've got whether it's Amazon ratings or Yelp or any Facebook, anything that involves voting, people will do. Right. Also, people will, for things like dating sites and stuff, people will pay money for introductions. I don't think anyone has shown that people are gonna vote and pay money for those votes just for the act of voting. And I think that's the question here. Right. Are people really going to pay? Are they that much of a fan that they're actually going to pay money to vote for these people on the site?
I think there's a level of editorializing, like you say, that they're going to try. I mean, look, they only have 100 models. They have 10,000 people looking. Right. And so they will, almost like what FARC does, they get in 2,000 links, they only put up 100. Right. I mean, they're going through, when I talk to Cyan in terms of how many people are there, there's a lot in operations just looking at, they're almost like a modeling agency. Right. Kind of just seeing which photos meet certain standards. Right. I mean, if you want just nude photos, just go online. They're all over the place, or go on MySpace. So this is a level of sophistication. I think they are, by putting that $10 a month, you're expecting that there's going to be sort of quality content there, and I think that I don't know, maybe I wouldn't pay $10 a month, but that's pretty expensive for a magazine. I wouldn't pay for any. I don't even read Cosmo, but definitely not Maxim. But would you pay $10 a month? Well, hopefully you guys won't pay $10 a month.
I think never. How dare you even ask me that? I think the question is, I don't know the adult the adult entertainment use case. Will people pay for high-end photos, or do they go to the smuttiest thing they can find? Yeah. And where is that market? What's the skew of that market? What's the consumption pattern of that market? And if there is a market for a high-end but UGC-fed new line of classy-ish photos, then sure. I think there's a business.
But I think the other thing though is that with blogging and things like Flickr and the new generation of video blogging technologies, stuff like that, I think it's becoming easier and easier. You see more and more people who are putting very sort of personalized, my life online, my pictures online. Right. So I think, it's that sort of classy, I just want to look at people and good pictures and stuff. That's become, the more personalized thing is also becoming more common. So do you need a site? I think it's going to be real easy for them to build huge traffic. I think, is a subscription and voting revenue model going to be the way they go? Or is it just going to be a place where lots of attractive women, I think they say, sort of online temple of female beauty with photographers and stuff. Yeah, they can get a ton of people to go there, and then, how are they going to monetize it? I think that's the question.
It'll be interesting to see whether the subscription model works. It's intriguing, especially if you look at all the social network sites where they're all ad-based, and this is definitely new. It's a social network that's a paid, it's a subscription model. And actually, they have high hopes, high aspirations. They want to reach 100,000 subscribers, paying $10 a month by the end of the year. And so they think they'll be profitable. So I think it's actually, after you look at the site, I think they've done a great job.
Are they going to do the celebrity thing? Are they going to do the...
They're going to do sort of, you can see where this goes. You can be, you can have contests for, who wants to be a model. Right. And I'm sure there's a show coming soon out of this. Who knows? I don't know.
Ezra, I think we need to go look at another 20, 30 profiles before we can...
I can't.
I think so. Okay, you could do that after the show. Okay, the next... So 23andMe... which is even more transparency. You can actually, I'll explain after we watch Linda.
23andMe is a personal genomics company that lets people get access to their genetic information. And we believe it's everyone's right to get access to this information, and we provide the service and give people context around what their DNA actually means. So for $999, we ship a saliva kit to people who are interested. They spit into the kit and send it into the lab, and that is where we generate a very large set of data that becomes part of their account. And then what we do is we provide all these types of tools that enable people to learn about themselves through their genetics, whether it has to do with their ancestry. We give them information about their maternal haplogroup, their paternal haplogroup, which means where did their mothers come from, and their fathers along those lines, as well as a broad look at their entire genome to see how do their chromosomes paint based on their ancestry.
So I guess this is sort of, the evolution of personalized medicine. It's this new consumer genomics industry. I think it's kind of cool.
Several layers deeper down than Zivity.
It's deeper than Zivity, yes.
Down.
You know what your earwax gene is, and with this
Can
side.
I tell you if you have any really rich relatives that maybe don't know you're related? Because that would be really useful.
I think what we can do is use the genomic social network to really get the early indicators of who's going to be able to be on Zivity later.
I think that's a good application.
Yeah. So I think what's interesting about this, and we've chatted about this company in the past, and I think that for me it's obviously
the Zivity gene. I'm sorry, I like that. Okay.
The preventative aspect of this, obviously it's useful if you can essentially determine what things you have a greater probability of having down the line. Can you change behavior early on?
Yeah.
But I think the main point there is most of the things for which you would change behavior probably require a pretty long runway to find out what you need to not be doing or be doing before you get to that point. And I think most people don't do a lot of preventative stuff.
They don't. I mean, there's been a lot of research and studies. It's uncertain whether if you know that you're going to be, you have a high propensity to get a heart attack if you stop smoking. Typically, actually, you've had some control groups that do and some who don't. And then there's...
Or even take the test. Drop $1 grand and take the test.
Right. Or if you have at risk for Alzheimer's, it's unclear whether even if you live a healthy life, whether that's preventative at all.
I think there's enough stuff that people, would take advantage of that, and I think for, the sort of, if you think about the stuff that you can pay $9.99 for, that is relatively trivial in the grand scheme of things, I think this is something where, I'm interested. I think it's something that a lot of people would be interested in. I think there are two sort of big issues. One, which I don't even know what the impact is, but I just have this vision of like a CSI type thing of like, Ezra, have a glass of water here, and then swabbing up some spit and getting my Ezra DNA report, which I'm not sure what I'd do with it, but I could figure out something.
Yeah.
You can find out he's like Native American ancestry.
I could have gone to way better college then.
But I was going to say the second thing, which I think is really worth talking about, which is. With insurance, there's all the pre-existing condition stuff and all the things that people can't get covered for and privacy things. We always answer on those forms every time we get something, family history of whatever. What does it mean once you take a test like this? If it says
they
you're
have to do.
get
There's a lot of risks here, and there's a lot of concerns around privacy, existing privacy policies, discrimination policies.
Sure.
And so they're working.
Or pricing on your insurance.
Right
now pricing is on an aggregate basis for a large extent. If you fall in this category, all of a sudden your insurance is like $100,000 a year because no one wants to take you on because you're guaranteed to get some horrific.
I think that the couple things, a couple points that. So I was at a panel, and Linda was actually on this panel, and I did this little survey out to the audience, and I asked who would pay $1,000, and maybe like 20% of the room raised their hands, and I said who would pay $500, and so everybody raised their hands. So I think that if you looked at how much it costs, how much price has declined because of technology and making our DNA number or letters available. Is it letters or probably off? But anyway, characters. And so I think that the price is going to go down substantially, probably hit the $500 to $200 price point.
So assume price isn't an issue, then just simply, what do you do with the information? And my guess is, for most people, drinking less, smoking less. Pay me $20. Don't drink. Don't smoke. Eat vegetables. Get exercise. You can save yourself a lot of hassle. And I think the reality is that that's what most people should be doing anyway. Most people don't do it.
Health aside, if you heard her say, "What's your haplogroup?" What are the people you're related to?
Right.
Everybody's looking for some sort of common thread, and in this case, common DNA strand. And so, if you could find out, we were kidding around, you find out that wow, you have a high propensity pregnancy for Alzheimer's, I mean, God forbid, but, you know, find somebody else, and all of a sudden you can create a group, you know, so you start a group, Alzheimer's, don't forget to sign up before you forget your friends. I mean, you could just, I mean, it sounds crazy, but I know a lot of friends who are somewhat hypochondriacs, and so you can start creating these groups, which seems
I almost
so
that reminds me of, like, every time I go online for anything on the WebMD or anything like that, it's always like, well, you've either got the common cold, or cancer, or diabetes, or heart. It's like it's like everything leads to that. So I have a feeling like, you know, when you take this, it's like, oh, there's a 1% chance that you will have Alzheimer's. Oh, damn it, I have Alzheimer's too now. So I think there's a lot of, you know, the stuff is so imprecise in terms of what the probabilities are, that I think there's, you know...
That's interesting. It might be indifferent to the information. It's like, you know what...
I think there's a lot, you know, I mean, we're still definitely very early, but I think it's very interesting. I just get kind of, I do get kind of creeped out hearing her say genomic social network. Right. Like, I don't even, it's kind of creepy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's amazing. They have 60 and probably more and growing conditions that they can spot. So traits like, you know, are you left-handed? I mean, that's pretty obvious. But, you know, do you have the sprinter's gene? Do you have this ancestral line, you know, from Europe, or, you know, European line? And or are you prone to, you know, have, or, you know, are you predisposed to have a certain disease? So I actually think that actually creating networks around those conditions, I actually think that they're going to be popular.
Just think, Ezra, maybe you had the sprinter's gene. Maybe you're the number one best sprinter's gene guy, and your whole life wasted.
I had the one violin gene, and I never tapped.
Never knew it.
That was it.
And I'm sure they'll one day have
all the report at the end for $1,000. All the things you could have been had you known. Earlier.
They'll have the Zivity gene at some point too. Yeah. Okay, so Zivity or 23andMe, which one would you bet on?
I'm going to bet on Zivity, just simply because I think that in the short run, people want to see naked ladies more than they want to see the diseases they're prone to have.
It's hard to bet against naked women online.
I don't really think I can add to that, but we definitely want your comments.
Right.
I definitely want to know, what would you bet on, Zivity or 23andMe? Okay, thank you very much, Diva. Thanks for joining us for Vator Box. Thanks, Ezra. I'm Bambi Francisco, and we'll see you next time on Vator TV.